And then now I told you before that I had 2 days free during the week, which means actually 4 days because I take 2 days during the week and the 2 days at the weekend to make my own project. And because I was in Berlin, I decided that I had to search for clients in Berlin, which I was a little bit naive and a little bit also opportunistic maybe. Then I went to Gestalten Verlag, which is one very big graphic design publishing house in Berlin. And I asked them if I could maybe design a book for them. And firstly they laughed and they say, come on guy, there's like 10 of people coming and then wanting to design books, 10 people a week coming and wanting to design books. But I had the opportunity to work on this project. At the beginning, they told me that they wanted to make a logo book, but the concept was still to be defined. And my first task, it was a kind of small competition. They asked me, "Can you make us a proposal? How do you want to deal with the topic of logos?" Because the publishing house wanted to make a series of logo books. There is a lot of other logo books on the market which are very academic. It teaches you what is a good logo, what is a bad logo, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. That the logo should work on a website, on a mobile phone, as well as on a fax machine and a copy machine. But they forgot also, all this book, they forgot to show and to display the whole panorama and range of logos. And the idea was with the first book and the second, because the first book was a huge commercial success, I was then commissioned to make the second one, the third one. And the idea in this book was to show all kinds of logos also that are just designed for one night or one event. Logos that are not working in black and white but just in color. Logos in motion. Logos that, what I was very interested into is the logos which were not taken by the client. Because often the logos which are not taken by the clients are even better than the one chosen by the client. So this was the whole range of logos I wanted to present this. And I started the first book with Nicolas and as an editor as well. And then for the second book, I was the editor of the book. The thing is that in doing this book, I had the opportunity to make other ones for the same publishing house. Altitude, contemporary Swiss graphic design, also because I'm, of course, coming from Switzerland. ARBS. The interesting thing is that in the first book I made for the publishing house, I was the graphic designer, of course, but also the editor of the book. And there is a huge gap between doing the design for a book and choosing the content, even writing the texts, or even working together with journalists for the texts. And because you have the two roles at the same time, you're the bad guy and the good guy at the same time, the guy which is not happy about the design, and the designer which is not happy about the text. So it was very interesting to have these two roles. And it was very early also in my career, so that I had really quick and early to deal with the fact that graphic design is also a method to be able to communicate stories, and also that the graphic designer had also the opportunity and ability to choose content and to edit content as well. Just for you to know that such books seems to be a great job to make this kind of books, but for a book like those logos, actually it's 6 months of work. You have 4 months of research, 1 month of selection, and then 3 weeks of design and 1 week of finishing. So the design part is really small in regards to the rest of the process. Through that, the publisher proposed us to make a book about data visualization. It was in 2008, I think, or 9, and it was a huge success. So we worked similar to the other book project, but we were, of course, editors as well as designers. And here I have to switch. because I wanted just a little bit to present this book. Because the first book was a huge success commercially, they commissioned us a few months after to make the second book about this topic and try to refine a little bit the concept. And it was a surprise as this book was a success, because we were thinking data visualization is interesting for a very, very tiny group of people, a very, very small group of people, but actually we figure out that a lot of people are interested into visualization of information. It is from the journalists till the architects and designers, of course, and storytellers, artists. The thing is that the book were very criticized from the data visualization freaks and data visualization professionals, because we did this book on the purpose, and we did this book as graphic designer. For us, it was very important to have a very specific perspective on the topic. And we decided not to make an academical book. This was not our purpose. Our purpose was to try to look at the data visualization from the graphic designer side. Because the graphic designer is always between the journalist and the printer, and in between you have to be able to visualize something in a really short time, almost the main of the time also in a short budget. And so we decided to categorize also this book into these several topics, and we create these names like data blocks. It is about data visualization formally based on blocks, as you can see. Data circles. And it was very criticized also by the professionals, because, of course, a lot of data visualization we have here this is, for example, from Lorin Foy. It's a German artist, and you can't really understand what it is about, but it's data visualized as an art piece. And for us, it was also part of that data visualization topic. So we had different projects from different countries, different designers, dealing with different processing, different here. For example, it's a very nice poster. It's about teeth brush. You brush your teeth in the morning. So it's time scale and movement visualization. And of course, all the mappings in any kind of way. Also, the analogy between here, for example, you have so much sugar means so much banana, or compare the sugar part in the Coca-Cola. So we were interested in all kinds of visualization, also in product design and in the art. Here, for example, is the DAX curves represented as a mountain landscape. It's of course not real. It's everything. It's a 3D visualization, but it's a work of art from a photographer, which deals also with data visualization. We decided to create our first own book, and we did it with Joël de Parmentier, which is the same photographer which photographed scenes in Tramnon, the people in Tramnon. And Joël de Parmentier is a Swiss photographer, an artist which is working for several magazines like Wallpaper or Vogue, and he wanted to produce also a photography book, and we wanted also to have the opportunity to create our own photo book, which is not the same kind of books, because we were really frustrated regarding the photography books on the market. If you look at the photography book, 90 or 95% of the photo books are always built exactly the same. You have an introduction from a very well-known curator or very well-known gallerist, and then 100 pages of pictures, full spread, and at the end the captions and the biography, of course, and that's it. And all the books are constructed and built on exactly the same way. So we wanted to have the opportunity to make something else and to mix text and pictures together. We made a huge interview of Joël And we pick out some words out of the interview and give to 8 different authors. As you can see here, I have a laser. There. We pick some words out of the interview, like afternoon, and we give these words to 8 different authors, and without any briefing. And they have to write something about this topic. And we did it on purpose because we knew, of course, that this author is specialized in this topic, and then we mix at the end. We mix the stories, the visual stories, the pictures, and the texts alphabetically through the book, so that we could create some new contrast and new stories into the book. And it was our first book. And then, in doing this book, we learned a lot also about distribution, being a publishing house, make a promotion of a product on the market, going to fairs, meeting people, trying to sell your product. We made different products. I can't speak about that, it's going to be too long, but we are still keeping going with our publishing house, making different products.